When they were talking about re-releasing these, I was like, holy shit, I gotta get them somehow, right? I mean, Back to the Future is like iconic, right? And I thought it was so cool back in the day because I was a little kid and I was a skater and he actually skates in it, and then it's like a floating board and we're like, wow, a movie actually has skateboarding in it, that's cool. For these to be designed back then, and now like the current shoes that are coming out, like how this is bubbled in the back and the sole, like shoes look like this now. In reality, maybe not as, I mean, some people are making shoes high, like fashion brands, but if these were cut down to here, they would look like regular Nikes that are like coming out now, right? Isn't that the truth? It's so weird. But yeah, these are fucking ahead of their time.
Yeah, Nike, SB, they really changed the sneaker game. People had to get these shoes.
Damn, now you got this old basketball shoe transformed into a skate shoe. It became bananas after that.
That's what kickstarted the sneakerhead movement in Los Angeles, was the Diamond Dunk.
There wasn't really like luxury looking Nikes back then. I'm like, I should make this look like this art piece, right? Like it's like, could be like chilling in a jewelry store.
Getting with Nike and then them willing to give me a signature shoe meant everything to me.
For whatever reason, it made a lot of sense in that decade. You just couldn't have designed a better shoe.
So this is Melrose. 20 years ago, there wasn't a day during the week where you couldn't walk down the street and it'd be crowded, beyond crowded. You couldn't even see to the next corner. It was like a mall during Christmas, and that's why I was like, oh, I need to come out here, you know. But now, as time went on, you know, that whole vibe's changed because of the internet, because everything is so expanded. Because back then there was no Grove, there was no Fairfax, it was just Melrose, and I've seen so many changes. But this was a place that, you know, where there was nothing like it in the world as far as stores or anything. If there wasn't for skateboarding, there wouldn't be no Off-White and Virgil, and there wouldn't be no fucking, it wouldn't even be Supreme. It wouldn't be, it'd just be, high fashion took everything from skateboarding. It's like so weird seeing what it turned out to be, you know what I mean?
The skate culture, it was really tight. Everyone was friends, like everyone who was sponsored and pro skaters, basically. We all knew each other from New York to LA to San Francisco. We were just a bunch of punk kids on our skateboards, you know?
Modern street skating evolved from here in Los Angeles. There was somewhat of a sneaker culture, but it wasn't like it is now. It wasn't huge. Whatever we thought looked cool and looked good with our kit was our sneaker culture. A lot of it was like basketball sneaker, and that was always a thing.
I used to skate in Jordan 1s. It's because you could buy Air Jordans, 2 pairs for 25 bucks. So we just buy those, because I guess when they came out, they must have not done that good. That was like the original like Nike skate shoe, was the Jordan 1. And there was like all these skate shoes that became really big for a while. And then when SB came out, that kind of changed everything back again.
Yeah, Nike, SB, they really changed the sneaker game. Every dunk that came out, people were lining up at skate shops and getting in fights, and people had to get these shoes.
The sneaker culture started realistically with Nike SB. Supreme did their Nike SB, and that was like the key to Pandora's box. Now SB had like a viable business. We were one of the first Nike SB accounts in Los Angeles. That shoe was like pure gold. It was the golden goose.
Now you got this old basketball shoe transformed into a skate shoe, and these colors that were, I think at the time, were just very rebellious, even for a Nike silhouette. I think the idea of a collector came around the SB era.
We design our main line about a year and a half out, but our collaborations and special projects can be anywhere between 2 and 10 years out. So we work on decade-long projects all the time, and you're getting your first look at what our collections will look like in future seasons. These are my very first pair of retro dunks that I had gotten, and I was gifted these by a guy named Robbie Jeffers, who was working at Stussy at the time, and he was a part of the early Nike SB marketing team. And these were when Nike SB was firing up. They were still just Nike dunks, their first Nike skate dunks. They called them the grip tapes, but I think they were like the Pro Bs or something. There was also a burgundy pair that I had. I held on to these because, again, like they meant something to me. You know, I felt really lucky to just have a pair of Nike SBs before there was even such a thing as a Nike SB dunk, you know? And so to me, they're a piece of history, and they also just categorize a chapter in my life of starting to get really into sneakers and trying to understand the design and the story and history behind them. So there's a lot of significance there. I think the Nike Dunk in the early 2000s was really having a moment. It invited in the skate community. And so it started opening up this conversation to a larger audience.
The first box of shoes I had were pretty much all dunks. Getting with Nike and then them willing to give me a signature shoe meant everything to me. It was the culmination of a little boy's dream, you know what I mean? Like, the dream when you're a pro skater is to have your signature board and a signature shoe. Without one or the other, the dream isn't complete, you know? So not only was I getting a signature shoe, but I was getting it on Nike. The first ever skater to have a signature shoe on Nike. Like, I was even too young to even really appreciate it. Of course I did, intellectually I understood it, but now every year, every day that passes as I get older, like, it's like more and more special. I didn't grow up with a brother or sister. I didn't really grow up with my dad. I spent all my time like looking at my heroes on TV or movies or wherever I got inspiration from, and I looked at them like, oh, you're my dad or my big brother, or you're the guy I look to learn how to be. So like, I would always have these group of heroes that I wanted to be like, and I'll be like obsessed and study them, you know? And Michael Jordan was one of them. I know I'm a skater, but like growing up, Michael Jordan was everybody's hero, man. Like, he was so inspiring. I wanted to be great like him, but on my skateboard. When they asked me, like, we want to do like a special shoe, you know, like how we do like special dunks, exclusive kind, and I was like, yeah. What would you want to do? And I'd just be like, something with Michael Jordan. I don't know, something, involve anything with Jordan. I had the first SB to have a Jumpman logo on it. It happened, man. It happened. It's crazy. I don't even think I've held these since I've had a pair myself. I was 19 years old, I was skating these, and that was my first ad with Nike with these, so these are very special. These are very special to me, a lot of good memories. A lot of people, you know, why did you skate those? Why were you skating? You know what those are? I didn't know what they were. I just knew they were tight, and I wanted to have my first Nike ad that was gonna be on magazines and billboards and windows of skate shops. I wanted to look fly in the photo, man. So don't be too mad at me, man. Yeah, a lot of memories with these.
I started Diamond in 1998 as a skateboard hardware company, just making nuts and bolts for skateboards. That was my whole idea. Started making t-shirts and hats, and luckily the t-shirts and hats and stuff, people liked the logo and the designs of shirts I was making, so those kind of started taking off. I met the team manager of Nike SBs, and he was actually a Diamond fan. He was always hitting me up to send him Diamond t-shirts and stuff. I already made a shirt that was the Tiffany & Co. colorway. And everyone was kind of tripping on the shirt colorway, so I was like, oh, I should make a shoe this color. And I'm like, I should make this look like this art piece, right? Like it's like, could be like chilling in a jewelry store. There wasn't really like luxury looking Nikes back then. So I think I kind of like set that off with that thing. We sent Nike the 2 colorways, and they hit us back and they're like, wow, we really like that diamond colorway. I posted it on my MySpace, because, you know, there wasn't Instagram or any of that stuff back then. I just had my friends on MySpace, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna show everybody, right? I posted it on there, and then I went to my friend's sneaker store, and he's like, man, what's up with that shoe you posted on the internet? And I'm like, where? He's like, it's all over these forums, and there's like hundreds of pages of people talking about these shoes. And I'm like, this was only like 4 hours ago, right? So he shows me, and it's like crazy. I never seen anything like it. People were just going wild over that picture that I posted of the shoes, and that's what kind of just started all the hype.
It was crazy. I knew when people started like lining up 2 days before. At the time, people would line up like a day before, but that was like a 2-day line. And that's what really kick-started the sneakerhead movement in Los Angeles, was the Diamond Dunk. New York, it was the Supreme and the Pigeon. LA was definitely the Diamond Dunk. That's what started it.
I actually went to those releases, and it was crazy. There was tons of kids, and I was like signing autographs and taking pictures, and I'm like, that's a trip, right? All these kids are like, Nicky Diamond's, like, oh my God. And it's like, wow, like sneaker celebrity, right, overnight. I tried to get some 11.5s the other day because I didn't have any new ones, and I wanted to buy them, and they were like 1,800 bucks or something. I was like, fuck that. I'm not gonna buy my own shoe for 1,800 bucks. That's crazy. These are the Nike SB Diamond Supply Co. Dunks, AKA the Tiffany's, that we dropped in 2005. Pretty iconic to sneaker and dunk heads. Thank God that people liked them. When I first got the samples, the final sample, which is exactly how you see it now, I was really excited. When I saw it, I was like kind of blown away because there wasn't really a sneaker that looked like, I mean, now there's sneakers that look way crazy luxury, but back then there wasn't anything like this on the market. So, you know, just the chrome swoosh and the shiny croc and the Tiffany color, of course, in leather, it just really popped, man. It was like a crazy colorway for the time. So people tripped out when they first saw it. They were like, wow, I never seen anything like that. Actually seeing them on somebody's feet, I was like, wow, that's crazy. I have my own Nike shoe. This is insane.
This was huge, you know, when this thing came out. I didn't realize how crazy it would be, or how crazy people would go over these shoes. But I remember Nick, when he was coming up with the design, him explaining it, actually the story behind it. He showed me a sample, and I was like, damn. That's what made SB Dunks stand out, was the execution.
We were like 20-something years old. We felt like kids, and it was like, that's like corporate America and adulthood, like not like letting you do that. It's like when you first drove a car or something, right? You're like, really letting me do this? So it's like, it's beautiful. I wish I still had a pair. When Undefeated first opened, I remember feeling like, oh, like this world of ours, now it's kind of more accessible, right, to the everyday consumer, which is one of the reasons why Undefeated opened.
This military theme, these very curated product everywhere, from the garments all the way down to the footwear. It was special. It was definitely something you did not find in a lot of places, or at all.
Friends of ours were the producers of Entourage, the TV show. They were just sneakerheads, right? And they would just come in and they would buy things, and they would buy like our apparel. So they presented like a whole show wrapped around Undefeated, and this like holy grail of a shoe that came out, and like the character Turtle like couldn't get, and we shot it in both our stores, and the whole thing was like they couldn't get it at the La Brea shop, and we came out and we're like, hey, we're sold out. You have to go to like Santa Monica. For years later, like I would be outside of the store, right? And like a couple would walk by, a couple that maybe you wouldn't associate with like, you know, coming into Undefeated, right? Let's just say. And they would be like, oh, like that's the place from Entourage. Undefeated at the time was like, luckily where people were coming in, everyone from like the everyday like person like me to like, you know, rappers and celebrities. And so it was just iconic for it. And then the Jordan moment came. If I remember correctly, it might have been the first collab that Jordan ever did, like at a brand level. How does that make you feel?
That's great. There's some fakes floating around. I mean, they're real, but they look fake. Wow.
Yeah, this for me was just like a proud moment, you know. In retrospect, obviously you see it as like one of the components of what it became. So there's the Eminem Jordan 4 was another moment around there at the same time. This was something else. This was just to celebrate a brand that was beginning its journey, right? Yeah, sick.
When I started, it was just a journey of trying to figure out how to make shoes. Making or customizing shoes wasn't really a thing yet. I think that's what attracted me towards it. I started making shoes for Justin Bieber, and it was just like customizing, but it wasn't fulfilling. I wanted to learn how to make shoes from scratch. I wanted to learn how to make sneakers by hand at the highest quality possible. I turned from a sneakerhead to a shoemaker. So now I buy machines instead of shoes. I get to work with Nike, I get to work with Adidas. My clients, they see it as a piece of art, but they also wear it, so it's the wearable art. There's some things you don't want to rush. You don't want to rush shoemaking, you don't want to rush the product to get it into someone's hands if it's not going to be 100%. I think the most challenging sneaker to date has been the 24 karat gold pair of shoes for LeBron James. And there's some nights that we didn't even sleep just to make sure that we got it right. These bins are remnants of the LeBron James 15 24 karat gold crocodile pair we did for Nike. So this is the original gold, the first shoe. I don't know how many times we made the shoe, but there's so many pieces of the actual shoe that we made. We spent well over 20,000 just in the crocodile alone just to create this shoe. So I think it's kind of cool to talk about it because people don't understand developing a shoe. There's so many components involved, like the very expensive crocodile to real gold jewelry pieces that we used that had to get remade because the first ones were made not up to the shoe surgeon standard. And no matter what comes out of the shop, it has to hold this standard. So if I have to remake a customer's shoe, 5 times, that's what's going to happen until we get it perfect. Being able to create this project with the brand was a whirlwind. It was a ride, but it was something that I really wanted to go above and beyond because it was for LeBron. People ask me, what's your favorite shoe that you've made? And the normal thing I tell them is like, I haven't made it yet, but I have so many amazing stories of how shoes came to life that, they're all my favorite in a different way.
Sneaker culture, the way that it seems to keep recycling and reincarnating itself, it's because it's everything that we couldn't have when we were kids. When you grow up thinking and coveting this thing, and you get to a point in your life where you do have the means, what do you want to buy? You want to buy the thing that you've coveted for decades. That's why the retro sneaker thing will continue on forever, because now there's always another generation that will look back and be like, that's the pair of shoes that I never was able to get before.
Coming from where I came from, where having shoes was a thing, collecting shoes was crazy. To me, it was always like this thing that was this small community of people that were just like kind of weird. It's just gonna happen. Did I think it would turn into what it is today? Absolutely not.
Back then, it was like, how do you find out about a sneaker release? Like knowing people at sneaker stores are telling you what's coming out, just word of mouth. It was a whole different thing. Now you just go on social media, you know everything. People just post it, you know everything that's coming out. It's introduced so many more people to the culture. Because before it was like, you're in the know, you're like a sneakerhead. Now I feel like everyone's a sneakerhead.
Usually the things that outlast all that like stay in history, are things that are just designed in a very honest way. Whether it's a story that just like appealed to somebody, or just a shoe that like you can just look at it and be like, that's kind of dope. That's art in a way, right? Maybe in 10 years, we're gonna sit here and like, we could talk about things that are just coming out now, and someone would be like, yeah, that was like a hype moment. And then there's shoes that it's like, you could just tell that a designer somewhere put his heart and soul into it. That's what stays and becomes a classic.